Happy January, happy 2024. On the medicine wheel, we're in that time, we're in the north, which is like winter time. And especially post-holidays, we're in that time of introspection, where we have the opportunity to look at ourselves and reevaluate ourselves and to, look inside to understand ourselves at a deeper level. Not always the most popular task, but so powerful and so important. So one of the things that I've been kind of gaining a lot of newfound clarity over is how human beings, how we leak our personal power. Okay, and this may not be the most popular topic, but it's so important because if we notice how we leak our personal power, we get the choice to not do that anymore. When we're not aware of how we leak our personal power, it just kind of leaks away and we're not even aware that we're doing it. So this is one of those things that, this coyote things that like, let's look at how we do this so we can get a choice. We can become aware. We can make a conscious choice to not leak our personal power. So that's the why. So, the way that we leak our personal power, at least the way I want to talk about it today, is whenever we look outside of ourselves for a quality or for something that we ought to be providing for ourselves or with ourselves, we are leaking our personal power. And you can think about it. I keep doing this with my hands, if you can see this video, because energetically, think about it. I'm looking outside of myself for something that I ought to be providing in here. So it ought to be provided inside, and I'm looking outside for it. So as I do that, energetically, my personal power follows where I'm looking for those things. So let's look at a few of these. The first one I want to talk about of things that we ought to provide for ourselves, but we tend to look outside for, is what I'm going to call emotional security. It's feeling secure in ourselves, feeling safe, feeling like I can handle what's going on. It's like feeling confident, you could say, that no matter what comes along, I've got this, even when life gets challenging. So that's these are things that I believe we ought to provide for ourselves. Now, this is a lifelong kind of journey to be more and more secure with ourselves. That's kind of a lifelong journey, and that's why we do this kind of work, so we can feel more secure with ourselves, and we can find that inside of ourselves rather than looking outside. So this is one of those areas, like all of these dimensions, is like when life is going good, when life is things are happening that we want to happen, then it's, then we feel pretty secure. When this gets tested is when things aren't going our way and we have setbacks, and life kind of does a little bit of a sine curve, right? We're doing things that are going our way, and then sometimes things are not going our way. And when things are not going our way, there's a tendency to feel like there's things outside of ourselves that are messing with our lives, So that's part of this too, is like rather than just saying, okay, yes, things outside of me aren't going the way I hoped, but how can I bring my power back to me, back to myself, and find a way to be secure with what is. Like things aren't going my way right now, and that's what is. So let's find a way to be secure. Maybe it's a timing thing. Maybe it's a down trough here. The conditions aren't right to do what I wanted to do. So let's gather some strength, be in my power, and then as the conditions turn around, then I can start moving with those things again. So we're not leaking our personal power. Let's talk about another one that's similar, is happiness or joy, and joy, I guess I would say. It's like if we're joy and happiness, I believe, are designed to be this kind of inside out type phenomenon. It's like if I can feel my own joy within, then I can experience it without. If I feel my own joy and if I'm happy, with myself, okay, then I can share that happiness with other people. But when I look outside of myself for happiness, and I'm not feeling it in here, there again, the energy is leaking. I'm looking outside of myself for the happiness. I'm looking to have joyful experiences to experience joy. You could say it's kind of conditional happiness or conditional joy. I'm happy when the conditions are right. We're looking for unconditional happiness, like unconditional love. It's like I can find joy even when I can find the joy of being alive and being in myself and being connected with life, even when things aren't going my way. Now, it's maybe not as, enjoyable when things aren't going our way, but even though, we still, just because things aren't going our way, we don't have to have what do we say? We're having a bad day. Well, yeah, and it certainly may feel like a bad day if we get a lot of setbacks and it's a lot of challenges. But if we can still find a way to go inside and find that joy and that happiness, then we're not seeking it outside of ourselves. And we're not leaking our personal power. We're not leaking our joy, you could say. The third dimension is kind of similar, but I'm going to call it acceptance and validation. So acceptance is definitely one of those inside jobs. It's like if I can go and I can accept myself first, okay, and I'm okay with me, similar to, security, but if I can accept myself and love myself, then I can, when I'm in my dealings with other people, I'm already whole and complete. So I don't need anything from them. In other words, I don't need them to like me. Okay, and I don't need them to think I'm cool or think I'm acceptable or think I'm sexy or I feel good about me and I just want to share it with you. And then I'm not leaking my power. On the contrary, if I am not able to accept myself, and I'm not able to validate myself and tell myself that I'm okay, then I'm going to naturally be looking to other people to do that. Okay? And what that, tends to look like is it feels like it's like neediness, or sometimes it's called maybe codependency. And we go around, we may not be saying these words, but our energy is going out like we're trying to impress people in subtle ways, or we're trying to get people to like us. And if that person likes me, we just do it backwards. Rather than I like me and I'm going to share my whole self with someone, it's like I don't deal with liking myself. And it's like our thought is if I can get him or her to accept me, then maybe I can accept myself. It might be a good idea, but it doesn't really work because now I've just leaked my power to that other person. And if that other person doesn't like me in that moment, I'm kind of screwed, right? Because now that she doesn't like me, now my ability to like myself has gone away, and so that's how we leak our power. Instead of providing it with myself, I'm contained. Then if I say I want to connect with someone, if that's romantically or as a friend or as a business partner or as being in the same community with someone or doing it, whatever it is, going on a walk with them, it's like then I'm whole and I know that I'm okay. I know I love myself. I accept myself. Okay. And then I say, okay, hey, I would like to be your friend. And then if that person says, I don't think that's such a good idea, Mike. I don't think we should be friends, or I don't think we should be friends in that way, or whatever it is, then it's like that might be disappointing, certainly. If I ask someone out and she says, no, thank you, now certainly that might be disappointing, but if I'm happy with myself before I ask her out, okay, and then she says, no, thank you, then it's like disappointing, but it doesn't trigger me to feel like I'm not lovable. because I already feel the love. I just want to share my love with her. So it's like, hey, you know, I mean, you don't say this when I ask someone out, but it's like, in essence, what I'm saying is, hey, I would like to share my love with you, or I'm whole already. Would you like to share? You know, and then there's not that needy energy. And see, my energy, it's contained. My energy and my love is already contained. It's already whole. And so my energy is contained. So then when I ask her out, my power is not going with me, with the question. If I'm not okay, then my power goes to her. And if she says, no, thank you, my personal power it just went away. And so so you can see, once again, it's just containing it and saying, hey, I feel good. And then when I ask someone out, I'm just getting information. And if she says no, okay, it's sad. She was kind of cute. Okay, it's sad. But now I got information. So now, you know, she doesn't want to share in that way. So now I can move on. You know, I've kind of qualified her in a way. I thought that would be cool. It wasn't. So now I can move on. And I never leaked my power when I did it. So anyway, that is my video for this week. I think I'll just leave it there. And I hope you have an awesome week. And maybe just start paying attention to what your energy is doing. Is like things like joy and security and acceptance and love. Do those things start inside? Are we able to do that? And then when we want to connect with someone, we stay contained? Or are we looking outside of ourselves? If I can get that person to accept me, then maybe I can accept myself. And then is my power, I can at this point with the awareness, it's like I can see my power leaking, and it's just like, whoa, I'm leaking my personal power. So what do I need to provide myself inside so I'm not leaking my power? Now I can have a clean interaction and not be needy when I connect with someone. So anyway, I will see you in a week.